Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Christy Alonso, circling back on a film that was not screened for critics last week, so you know it's good, The House.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's a movie starring Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler. It has all these great comedians, including, who all is in it?
Oh, Jason Mantzoukas and Michaela Watkins and Allison Tolman and
a lot of people who are good. And, you know, the ads look kind of funny. It's kind of a funny idea, theoretically, and they would not show it to us. So we all had to pay money, like actual people, to go write about it and talk about it. So anyway, Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler are these suburban parents living in this lovely leafy suburb, and their daughter gets into the college of her dreams. And for some reason, they have no money to pay for her college education, although they live in a really nice house in a really nice town. But
two ovens.
I didn't notice that.
Oh, Dave White was all over it. Two ovens.
When you go to a movie with Dave White, not only how many are there, but what kind are there? So, yeah, I guess they don't cook either. So they don't have any money, and then they decide to, with their best friend, Jason Mantzoukas, turn his house into an illegal underground casino, which then becomes a fight club and a rub and tug place. Take a look.
Alex thinks we can afford tuition, and we can't.
We gotta lie. That's what parents do. Because otherwise the kids are gonna realize that we don't know what we're doing.
Welcome. I have a way for you guys to make
4 years tuition in 1 month. Underground casino.
The math seems to check out.
Do this math. You're 40 years old, and you go to jail for 20 years. How old are you when you get out?
90.
No.
100.
Honey.
If I have some scratch paper, I can figure it out.
I'm looking up, because I wanted to give a shout out to the two funniest people in the movie, Lennon Parham and Andrea Savage.
Right, because they have,
As the neighbor ladies who hate each other.
moms
They
smack down.
are consistently great. The thing about this movie is, the whole, whenever they don't show us something, that's sort of code for like, just let's pretend this never happened. There are laughs in it. Every so often, a thing happens that is funny and that lands and that works, but there aren't enough of them, and they don't tie together in any cohesive way at all. You're right. I mean, like you could make a movie about sort of economic anxiety, like Bridesmaids was. You know that these. I'm sure a lot of parents find themselves in the position they can't pay for their kids' college, but the way it's set up is so stupid. Like they were clearly relying on the fact that their suburban town sends like the top high school student, like they pay for their college every year. But so what? Since the age of 3, they were assuming that's what their kid was going to win that, and then they didn't have to have any backup plan.
Yeah, there's also a weird subplot where like Will Ferrell can't do math. So the problem is that these are not people, right? These are not people. They are barely even a collection of ticks. Like truly, the fact that Will Ferrell can't do math is one of his primary character traits.
This is true,
right? And so when they go from 0 to 60 with like the idea of the casino to all of a sudden it being this full-blown debaucherous, like bacchanal, whatever, it just makes zero sense, and you're not invested in whether it works or not because you don't know who they are. I mean, and again, like, I know it's a silly comedy. I should just go and laugh, whatever. It's not an Oscar-winning movie. But the thing is, like, when you don't have actual characters, you're not tied to anything, and you don't have anything invested. And I feel like they probably just assumed they'd let these actors just riff, right?
Exactly.
There's probably like the idea of they're just going to improv based on this outline, and even the wacky outtakes, because
I was
going to
say, this is a movie with wacky outtakes, so you know they were making shit up all along the way.
But those aren't funny either.
And it's an 82-minute movie, which means they had to chop and chop to make this thing even remotely cohesive. And the thing is, if they had fully embraced the absurdity of it, that would have been good too. Like there's a funny moment where out of nowhere, Will Ferrell is suddenly, like he's wearing his Italian sunglasses that look like women's sunglasses, which reminds me of an old MST joke. You know, and this waiter wearing like a full uniform comes out with a plate of eggs and this like perfect, you know, Bloody Mary, and Ferrell smokes like, what is that? Eggs? Like, yeah, they're so-and-so ordered them. They're overlight. Those aren't overlight. The yolks are hard. Take them back. And, like, stubs the cigarette in the egg, and it's this total, you know, Scorsese casino moment, and it's funny. But it comes out of nowhere and it goes nowhere again. Like they don't build on this notion of a thing that starts out as a little underground casino in a house that 5 neighbors comes to suddenly has a spa and a comedy club and whatever else.
Too fast.
Yeah,
there's no progression.
There are the makings of a funny idea in here, but again, so many contemporary comedies are not written enough. They just assume if we cast funny people, they'll just make magic on the set. And this is directed by and the guy who wrote Neighbors.
Andrew J. Cohen.
Yes.
And Brendan O'Brien.
Right. They co-wrote it, and I think they did Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, which was also not great. But yeah, as a director, he has no grasp of this material, and it just everything just sort of ricochets off of each other, and the people are funny. If you could make a funny movie solely on the cast, like the cast is great, but yeah, it's just a hot mess.
Yeah, and the thing with Neighbors is it's not too dissimilar from this in that you have a couple who are pretty mild-mannered, and maybe they had some party in their background, but now they're normal, and they take shit to a crazy level when pressed, right? Like Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne, like, are established as actual people, both as individuals and as a couple. So when their craziness escalates, it comes from a place that makes sense, or at least that you want to know where it goes.
Yeah, we know where they started and where where they wind up is funny.
Right.
And this one, yeah, we barely know who these people are in the first place. So then when things get crazy, it's like, well, but compared to what, you know?
Yeah, and then there's no, maybe might have been an idea of social satire, like a how we live now kind of economic comedy, whatever. And then there's a whole subplot with Nick Kroll as the asshole city councilman who's embezzling, and like that's not really developed either.
No.
And I think they just want Nick Kroll to show up and be Nick Kroll, and that's going to be enough, and it is not. So, and then Rob Hubel is like the only cop in the entire town. So he's there for everything, and yeah, it's just saying it's slapdash like does a disservice to movies that are
indeed slapdash.
So my number is like a 2. I don't know when you laughed. And maybe the joke you just told, the joke Alonzo just told, is the funniest part of the whole movie.
I gave it a 5 because every couple of minutes, like I would laugh at something, but then I would not laugh for long stretches. Then at the end, I'm like, this was a mess, but I remember like 3 jokes that were funny. So,
yes. All right. Yeah. So I don't even know if this is like you're lying on the couch with a cold kind of cable movie.
Even then, you could probably do better.
Even then. So our number is 3.5. It's at 20% on the tomato meter. Avoid. We saw it for you. So now you can avoid it. Bye.